to another video on the art and the business of songwriting, and today's video is going to concentrate on both those things, and we're going to be talking about 5 things not to say if you want a music publishing deal, if you want to write professionally. Now, I happen to be a professional songwriter. I've written for several artists as well as releasing albums of my own, and my music has been used in documentaries, advertising, that kind of thing. But I've also worked in A&R where I was offering contracts to other artists. So I'm going to kind of share with you some things that it would really put me off working with someone if they said. Now, there was actually a real toss-up between the number 2 and number 1 spots. You'll understand why if you stick through the video. So let's get started. So number 5. Something you definitely shouldn't say if you're looking for a music publishing deal. I've been writing for 10 years. I've been writing for 20 years. Like telling the publisher how many years you've been writing. You know what? That means nothing. In fact, if you've been writing for 10, 15 years and you've never come to the attention of a publisher, that's actually not going to look good, because it kind of suggests you haven't been learning. You've just been off doing your own thing. I've been driving for 24 years and I totally suck at it. So how long you've been doing something means nothing at all. That's not something to stick in your bio. Number 4 is, and I'm sure you've all heard this phrase used by songwriters, and perhaps it's made your heart sink too, I only write depressing songs. Well, if you get a publishing deal, you're going to have to be able to write to a brief, and you're going to have to be able to write all kinds of songs. So if you're in essence saying, I only write one genre and one mood, that's not really going to wash. Also, we've all been in the pub when someone's got up with an acoustic guitar and said, I don't write cheerful songs, I'm going to play you some sad songs. People don't really go out of a night with their friends to have a drink and be made depressed, and it's not the right setting for it, and so people just want to clear out as soon as they hear that. But I mean, there is obviously a place for slow, sad songs with something meaningful to say, that have a haunting melody, that are beautifully expressed. I mean, do write those songs, just don't write only those songs. And now we'll move on to number 3. I don't write with other people, I write only on my own. Well, if you sign a music publishing deal, you will be expected to co-write. Professional songwriters co-write more often than they publish songs that they've written on their own. In fact, one of Ellie Goulding's recent albums had about 15 writers on it. That's not uncommon. Most commercial songs are co-written. So if you've never co-written, or you haven't done it very often and you're looking for a publishing deal, go out and co-write. Write with as many different people as you can, because you learn from every person that you write with. You see how they go about things, and you might want to adapt some of those strategies yourself. Or maybe you're a great lyricist but you don't really know an awful lot about chords. Well, then find someone who's maybe a guitarist or a pianist, the complementary skills thing. But if you want to sign a music publishing deal, get out and co-write. Okay, so we're coming to the top 2 now. These are really important to remember. There was actually a real toss-up between these 2, but the one that I've selected to go at number 2 is songwriting is instinctive. I don't have to learn it. Don't say that! I mean, did you learn to play guitar instinctively? Maybe you did, I don't know. Maybe you taught yourself. But I mean, you weren't just sitting on a chair when suddenly the ability to play guitar hits you from the sky. And people seriously believe this about songwriting. They think a good song hits you like a bolt of lightning and there's no study involved. Rubbish. Yes, you do have to have talent, but you have to work that talent. You can't be a professional songwriter and have the vocabulary to work with other songwriters without understanding song forms. Those are really important. Chord progressions, lyrical strategies such as show don't tell and scansion and wireframing. You need to know all these things. Now, I myself have a master's degree in songwriting, and I was a way better songwriter after it than I was before it, through having studied my craft and trying to learn about it. You don't actually need to do a degree in songwriting, although many of the professional songwriters that I've worked with have got degrees in music and specifically in songwriting. But you need to listen to as much music as you possibly can. Listen to the forms and structures that fit in certain genres, because there will be very clearly defined structures for each genre. Listen to the rhyme schemes that go in each genre. Listen to the use of imagery and vocabulary that fit with different genre of music. Actually think about your craft, study your craft. Don't think that you're just gonna, magically have a hit song hit you. People who do well in songwriting have actually worked at it, and in no sphere of human endeavor can you do no work and have success. It doesn't work like that. And I personally, if someone said to me, oh, well, songwriting is instinctive, so I didn't need to go out and do any work in it, I wouldn't take them onto my books. I wouldn't have signed them, because it suggests that they actually don't have the knowledge that they would need to have to work in a professional environment. Okay, so number one, the really big one, and that is, I write for me. I don't really think about an audience. No, 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 no. Don't ever say that. Because, even if you're writing something that is really, really personal to you, and yes, you should write about your own life and about topics that are personal to you, because that will give your song authenticity. And you think of some really great songwriters who've done that. Tori Amos, for example, is what's known as a confessional songwriter, in that she writes from her own life, her own feelings, and has created some beautiful work doing that. So I'm not at all saying don't write from your own heart, but you have to ask yourself, will people understand this? And if you write in such a way that only the people who were present in the room when the incident you're writing about happens, well, your audience is going to be what, about 3 or 4 people? That's just not going to work. You have to ask yourself when you're writing the song, will people understand this? Am I conveying this experience, this message that is important to me? Am I writing it in a way that people can actually understand it and grasp it, both lyrically and melodically? Is it a progression that people can follow and hook into and understand the sort of flow of the song? Alfred Hitchcock once famously said that you can make an audience feel all kinds of emotions, but you can't make them feel confusion, because an audience in confusion is not emoting. The minute that people don't understand what you're talking about, you've lost them. And this really important message or this really important story that was somewhere close to your heart will get lost. So in a professional context, we spent a lot of time thinking about how the audience is going to experience the song. As I say, it's completely fine to write things that are for your own catharsis and for you to work out issues. That's great, but that's not professional songwriting. Commercial songwriting is aimed at an audience, and you should actually have some idea when you're writing the song who that audience is. What's their age? Where do they live? What other musicians do they like? Who are you writing for? Because that will help you in terms of the musical structures that you use, the production sounds that you use, and also the vocabulary that you use when you're creating the lyric. It will in fact help you, it will give you a structure, but it will actually, rather than making your song less artistic and have less emotional impact, hopefully give it more emotional impact by ensuring that it connects. Because remember, connection creates emotion. Lack of connection will just cause people to skip your song. So those are my top 5. If you can think of any others, feel free to post them in the comments. If there's any questions that you'd like to ask, do post below. You can contact me anytime for feedback on your work at info@evewilliamsmusic.com, and I'm going to link to a couple of my songwriting courses below. So, get in touch. I really love to hear your work.